Hi, everybody. This is day 1532. 32 days since Richard was brutally code red murdered, premeditatedly. That's what code red means. It was an internal order on Fort Bliss to murder him. Why? Because he was connecting dots. He was reporting misconduct on Fort Bliss. Criminal trafficking. Criminal trafficking is a host of things like child sex trafficking, human trafficking, weapons trafficking, ammunition trafficking, drug trafficking. So it's criminal trafficking. Okay, so many things. I was just reading. Sorry, coming on so late. I'm gonna burn midnight oil tonight. But I was reading about Judge Samaniego and his alleged conflict with his girlfriend. That's in the newspaper. I'll post that up. And that. Okay, so many things. Girlfriend. And we'll see. We'll see that media can be brutal. It can be an attack. We really have to read every article very carefully because, of course, the media can be weaponized. It has been weaponized, just like the law enforcement system has been and can be weaponized. And, this makes it very difficult for those that are honoring their oaths in their jobs and defending the Constitution, the laws of the land. It makes it very difficult when you have corruption intertwined. It's kind of like the wheat and the weeds. It makes it very difficult because you see clearly that the system can be weaponized, and we're exposing that because that's exactly what happened in Richard's case. It was a code red murder. Absolutely treason. Absolutely treason because what Richard was reporting on um, was very important for what we're going through right now. You see this conflict of interest between Israel and Iran, and we have a military that has some major problems. Um, where do you get the confidence for your service members? Where is the esprit de corps? Where is the just war? You cannot win a war if there's no esprit de corps, if there's no just war, if there is um, internally, those that are willing to murder um, their own service members or their own soldiers or their own. It's just absolutely, and just the willingness to even retaliate because it wasn't just the murder. Okay, Richard underwent severe and continuous, and I'm not lying about that, just like we haven't lied about Patrick Crucius having autism, that we haven't lied about everything being very fishy and Richard being murdered, and then we get the declaration of death from the government, and we get the paperwork, we get the receipts, and they clearly reveal that Richard was murdered on Fort Bliss. And, and then the media doesn't want to report that because, Bob Moore has crossed the line. He's crossed the line from journalism um, to a weapon. To a weapon. Matter of fact, I kind of wrote this down in my notes because I just thought, putting down my thoughts. Yeah, here it is. It says he's crossed that that line from journalist to obstructionist, um, obstructing justice, right? Uh, Participating in that, being a tool for the criminals and becoming a criminal himself. Um, and because he knew Bob Moore of El Paso Matters, who is owned, you have to understand, El Paso Matters is owned by El Paso Community Foundation. This is very powerful. And, for him to engage in to be weaponized, to misuse his 501c3, which he's supposed to be neutral, um, to know that I've been reporting on for Team Find Richard Halliday since December of 2023 that Patrick Crucius has autism. And, we have been trying to communicate, contact um, in a in a in a civil way with Bob Moore to let him know um, what we knew. And he sided with the criminal group that is the criminal network that it includes, sorry, that includes, excuse me, includes the prime suspects in the murder of our son. I mean, can you imagine that? He sided with them. He was in that group when he tried to fact check me on a live stream. Um, Thank you, Danielle, for coming on. Um, Saying that Patrick Crucius has autism, and no, 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 and I'm like, oh, you're coming on a live stream when we have tried. I think the count is like 15, 16 times, and this is not including all of the complaints, right? Um, to engage him, to have a conversation. Same thing with Angela Kachurga. We haven't forgotten about Angela Kachurga. She is absolutely part of this criminal network. Okay? Absolutely part of this criminal network. And we try to let her know. And she revealed herself to us. It's kind of like what happened last night in these debates. They reveal themselves. Um, they absolutely say what side they're on, even in their lies, even in their roles of like, oh, I'm a neutral journalist. And they're absolutely the opposite. They're an obstructionist. They're not neutral at all. They're totally political. And and here we were trying to tell Bob Moore everything that we knew so that he could report on it, at least part of it from our perspective, give it 50-50. Um, and we would have been absolutely agreeable on that. But he didn't do that. He became an obstructionist, and we sent a cease and desist because it's absolutely damaging to getting accountability in Richard's case. And he ran from it. He is running from our cease and desist. Just such a coward. So, he's really up to no good for the community. He's protecting the criminal network. That look, I got a video today sent to me um, that these longshoremen are complaining that they are hearing humans in the tactical move storage units, in these huge storage units that they're shipping out, that they are absolutely aware that they are trafficking humans and they don't know what to do about it. You know why? Why don't they know what to do about it? you call in the law enforcement. But if you have so much corruption and you don't and you have obstruction and you have the media becoming obstructionist, um, and not holding the law enforcement accountable, or their feet to the fire to do their job, then we're going to just descend into total chaos. And I do want to report this from South Carolina. And I want to say, first and foremost, our heart is breaking for the stories um, that we are getting, that we know, that we see with our own eyes, because we live so close to North Carolina. We're, very close to the border. And we were very fortunate that our house wasn't destroyed in this storm, Helena. But and we're hearing about uh, terrible things, very terrible things. Um, and our heart breaks for all those that have lost their house and their cars and their family members, their children, their towns. Losing your town. I mean, here where we're at, um, we have some problems because we still have power problems, and um, uh, uh, the shops are closed down. And anyway, it's minimum compared to what is just north of us, very close to us. But the other thing that we're hearing is the descent into chaos up there. The need for water and for food and for fuel is so big, and the response, you know, there's no excuse. Our response should be so quick to help them. We have all kinds of ways to help them. So much training we put into our system, taxpayers' money we put into our system. With FEMA, we have so many organizations and agencies. We should absolutely be able to help them. Um, and and we're getting word that it's just very chaotic, um, even sometimes violent, and that is just absolutely crazy. And the line workers are working so hard. They're coming from all over the place. Um, so something is not right. There's a lot of politics in all of this. Um, the rhetoric is so political, and when I would point that out at the beginning for Team Fine Richard Halliday, because we absolutely knew in 2020 this was all politics, and that what happened to our son was politics. Because never, ever, ever should there be a code red murder on a military installation, Fort Bliss. Never. There is so much that we give, that we entrust to secure our military bases, to um, give proper leadership. We're so top heavy. We have 44 four-star generals the last time I looked. And World War II, we had so much more esprit de corps. We had 10 times more soldiers, and yet we only had seven four-star generals. Now we have 44, and they're just serving foreign and domestic enemies, and can't secure the barracks, can't secure a safe place for our soldiers to live. This is a huge issue in our case against the military, is that we have the SOPs for the barracks, and they say that the barracks have to be someplace where you would want to live, right? A safe, there's so many rules, and yet there was uh, quite the opposite, just criminal trafficking. You had 14-year-old living in the barracks being pimped out. You had girls being brought in, young girls being brought in during COVID. You have, and am I allowed to say that word? You have swaths of weapons um, and ammunition and all kinds of other illegal things, and also illicit videos, child porn, and then you have it all being airdropped, and then you have all the drugs and the alcohol on top of it, where they're saying that they just stay drunk the whole time. This is not esprit de corps. This is not a disciplined military. And Richard's calling it out. He's calling it out. And now, look, we're going to pay the price. They murdered him, and we're going to pay the price because Iran and Israel are at it. And, you just see the signs everywhere where we're going to have to protect ourselves. And we have leadership that have damaged our military, damaged our military installations, have damaged our soldiers, our service members. Um, it's just, you can see examples everywhere. And I'm not saying that we don't have examples of the finest of the fine, that we don't have. But just think what we could be. There wouldn't even be a war if we were disciplined, if we were strong. We wouldn't have any fear at all, right? Because when you're strong, nobody messes with you. This is what's happening. And we don't have the supplies because our supplies have been robbed. There's been trafficking going on Fort Bliss. You saw that the proof was Afghanistan. And God bless Donald Trump, President Trump, for calling it out. Just like God bless President Trump for calling out the 325 to 500,000 unaccompanied children that now I'm getting sent videos that the longshoremen, when they're loading these tactical move storage units onto the ships, they're hearing voices, people calling for help inside these storage units. Now, what have we become? And Richard was calling that out. He's a total hero. He's a total hero for being brave to call that out, to call out, to see as a young man, to see the consequences in our national security, to see the wrong that was doing to the children. And what country were they from? They're from all over the place. This is not a racial issue. And what did they do? They tried to turn it into a racial issue with the Walmart mass shooting case. And now, if things aren't convoluted enough, Richard's case has descended into including El Paso Independent School District. I mean, if things aren't convoluted enough, if the drama is not enough, well, we've just added to it. El Paso Independent School District. Because Julio Cordero, FBI agent, retired, and you never really retire, right? You're retired, but you'll always be an FBI agent. And he was, part of the expert witnesses of the El Paso Walmart mass shooting case with Patrick Crucius. So they come out now because we put in these complaints this last week on the connection between Richard's case and the very suspicious killing of FBI agent Julio Cordero there at the El Paso Independent School District, and the conflicts of interest that connect the suspects in our son's case with what's going on there in El Paso Independent School District. When I'm just giving you a heads up with that, we turned all that in. There's conflicts of interest, with the police, the El Paso Independent School District Police, with the Texas Rangers, that are investigating our case. And I kid you not. I kid. It will blow your mind because they're protecting this very lucrative, absolutely disgusting, vile, and vulgar business of trafficking, which destroys our country, which destroys children, which destroys families. They're ripping them, which destroys our law enforcement, which destroys our economics. It is the people involved in this are the most selfish, short-sighted, lawless, short-sighted, selfish, demonic, because you have to be possessed by evil to be able to participate in what they're participating in with the child corn, with the up to 500,000 unaccompanied children. Just the fact that they're unaccompanied, anyone that has children know what happens if they get sick. What happens if they need to use a bathroom? What happens if they have an accident? What happens when they're hungry? What happens if they misbehave? What happens if they, do what children do? To be unaccompanied? And you can say, oh, well, the traffickers were with them, with the guns and whatever. Oh my gosh. And then you put them in an emergency intake center, you cram them in, and your whole intent is about money. And so what is the ratio? What's the ratio? And who are they putting them in with? The Afghanistan refugees? The other refugees, the adults? The ones that eat the cat, eat the dog, is that who they're putting them in with? I mean, think about what they're doing at this emergency intake center. And why am I calling it out? Just like I was calling out that Patrick Crucius has autism. I mean, 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And you would know. Look, even the neighbors knew. He's outside, he's playing, and all of a sudden he starts banging his head on the sidewalk. They're like, everyone knew he had autism. I'm calling it out. Are you telling me Joe Spencer, who, let me tell you, he doesn't have any nice, he has fallen, he has been kicked off the horse, right? He has fallen flat on the ground, right? Maybe even further down. But, it's like they have no nice words. I am being nice to Joe Spencer, and I don't have any nice words for him. But people are calling him out because you're telling me that this defense lawyer didn't know that his client had autism? No, he knew. And now 5 years later, because he's been caught in his conspiracy, in his colluding, in his greed for money, let's just draw this out. 5 years. 5 years. What is he going to do? Run to? Is he going to run like Bob Moore from the cease and desist? Is he going to run from accountability? Because he needs to be held accountable. And many more. Judge Madrano. Because no way could this happen without a collusion, without a scheme between Joe Spencer and Judge Madrano. No way. And Bill Hicks. The scheming and what did they get for it? And of course, Justin Underwood. Let's not forget John Briggs and Justin Underwood, Omar Cardona, I hope I have his name right. You know, there's so many that know. And Felix Valenzuela. Valenzuela, the the attorney, he plays a huge role in our son's case. Huge role. And I don't mention it so much, but it's all going to come out, and it's all coming out. And now with this very suspicious death, the family is, not having any part of the false narrative that's coming out about their family member, their loved one, Julio Cordero, um, and what happened to him. And now to find out that it's connected to Richard's case. And the conflicts of interest will just blow your mind because they have a police force. They have a police force and they have contracts. Thank you. Thank you, Danielle, for coming on. Thank you, Peg, for coming on. Thank you, Anicia. Thank you for your prayers and your love. And unfortunately, this has been going on for a long time, discussing justice for Richard Halliday and his family and friends. Absolutely, but God has a reason for things, and we've said to ourselves, um, you know, within Team Find Richard Halliday, when we came back from some of the meetings when we were living in El Paso, um, and they were telling us we had to be the investigators, right? We had to be the investigators. We had to bring them leads. We had to figure out what happened to our son, and then they put him in. We had all these leads that we were giving them, and they weren't investigating. Uh, you know, uh, there was no do outs, right? There were no do outs. It was very clear they were obstructing and they were tampering, and it was very clear that things were very stinky. But of course, it was 2020, 2021, and we were like, okay, as long as we're bringing forth leads. They try to put Richard in cold case. We said, no way, he's not cold case. Well, bring us leads, bring us leads, and so we did, and what we did find was all their misbehavior, their misconduct, their criminal activities, their connections. I mean, can you imagine? CID Todd Howell has major conflicts of interest with the Hart family, the prime suspects in the murder of our son, and he's supposed to be investigated. No wonder. No wonder he was even denying the Board of Inquiry's results. He had denied it to us, saying he didn't believe the uh, declaration of death. What do you mean you don't believe the declaration of death? Where's Richard? Look at why don't you talk to our witnesses? Why don't you talk to the whistleblowers? Why don't you look at the evidence? Why don't you go to Fort Bliss and collect evidence? They didn't even go to Fort Bliss. Um, and I'm like, and here are the receipts, and here is everything going on. But no, when you're protecting, when you have conflicts of interest with the very prime suspects of the murder of the victim in the case, and and you're trying to protect the murderers, you might say, oh, the murder never occurred. That's been going on. But I want to tell you right now that the doors have been opened. It's kind of like floodgates. We have a rush of accountability going on right now. That's why we're finding out about all of this background information with El Paso Independent School District, with the connection with FBI, you know, the key, what do I want to say? The professional witness, um, in the Walmart mass shooting case, Julio Cordero, an FBI that knows that case. He was on that case, an expert witness. That's what I wanted to say, an expert witness in that case. And here he is dead. And Glennon Oakley Jr. is dead. And Richard, now connecting the dots from the Walmart mass shooting to the criminal trafficking to, did you see the song? Did you see the song? That we put that together before this whole thing came out with the autism. I need to go and add that to it. But and I should try to play it. I should try to play it on my live stream. Here I am at midnight, because we are so busy making sure that we document this. The floodgates are open. The doors have been opened. And each one of those floodgates is an agency, is an institution. And we have put so much pressure. The evidence is all the water gushing. The water, there's no stopping. And remember, water has memory. Truly, water has memory. Which is just, when you think about that, and you think of this analogy, and that all of those memories, all of that evidence, all of the hard evidence, the circumstantial evidence, the irregularities that are all put together, has created a flood that has forced the gates to open. And they were trying to hold it back to protect the criminal. And it's open now. The water is, the truth is so powerful. And now they're all like, oh, we got to open the gates, open the gates. How can we help you? Ongoing active investigations, by the way. And all this flood of information is coming at us, and we're having to react to it, to make sure that we document it, that we also add it to Richard's case, so that we're getting accountability. And that started, it started Sunday. Now, the water was getting tough, and those doors were opening, but the full wave of accountability started Sunday. What was Sunday? St. Michael and All the Angels Day. St. Michael and All the Angels Day. And I was talking to my mom about that, and she was like, that's my icon. I said, you're right. She sent me the picture of her icon, that she made. She went to a special prayer class, and learned how to pick out the wood, and learn how to prepare the wood, and then to mark it, to grind the gems. And every time you do a step, you're praying. And so that icon is with all natural and gems, and she said it was the most remarkable thing, the most so special. And she picked St. Michael, the archangel, because he peacefully, with the truth, conquers Satan, slays Satan. It's an amazing, oh, this whole week what has happened. And so that was such a great lesson on Sunday, because here we're getting this wave of information, a wave towards this accountability. Well, it is accountability. And you have to just take a deep breath and, um, you know, be peaceful in that slaying of this criminal, just evil, demonic, satanic, devil group that is has really hurt El Paso, has hurt Fort Bliss, has hurt so many. The soldiers, when we were on there, they were shaking. I've been reporting on that for 4 years. You couldn't believe it, and I even filmed it, and you could hear him shaking. Remember, the soldier just shaking, and they've had no esprit de corps. They have no. Um, they're so tied in knots, or they're so criminal that they don't know how to respond to you. They don't know how to respond to the justice. And I'm not saying this is 100%. I'm saying way more than what should be. There should have been a huge rally for Richard of all those unit members. And they're culpable. They are absolutely culpable because they know what happened. Because Richard was retaliated against for months. Months. Glennon Oakley Jr. was found dead in his barracks April 8th, 2020. And then Richard is murdered, and they all know that he was murdered. They know. Just the atmosphere is one of retaliation, of weaponization. The leadership. And that's why we have gone for the leadership. And remember, that's when that criminal group got so mad at me when I started saying the 44 four-star generals have betrayed us. They are serving foreign and domestic enemies. When I started doing that, they went absolutely crazy and they turned against Team Fine Richard Halliday because they knew it was the truth. That's who they were protecting. They were protecting the Michael Garretts. The Michael Garretts, the Sean Bernabes, the Donna Martins, the James McConvilles, the Mealys, the Stewart, you know, Clem Coward, and there's others. There's others before, that um, that's who they were protecting. They weren't protecting Glennon Oakley Jr. They weren't protecting Asia Graham. They weren't protecting, um, I would even say, Jay Paulin or Ruggiero. And and it's so, isn't it odd that Jay Paulin, in his crime, because they're both criminals, um, are going to side with this criminal group that would absolutely sell them out. Absolutely. That sold out their own soldiers. When you're a first sergeant, your your soldiers are your soldiers. Turgeson, um, he knows. He's contacted us, in the live stream, because there's no esprit de corps that has been powerful enough for them to find their courage to do what's right, to say, we've screwed up. It was absolutely Animal House. It was absolutely political. 2020 and 2021 were absolutely political. And everybody would respect them so much more. You know, and now, so it's all God's timing, because we have, unintentionally, God meant it to happen, expose the entire panel of the El Paso Criminal Law Magistrate Court. They are illegal. Thousands of cases, a lot of military cases, Patrick Crucia's case, Richard Halliday's case, are all botched. These are all criminals because they absolutely know, as judges or appointees or whatever, if the law gives them the power to be appointed, or do they have to be elected? They all know that. And because the El Paso Criminal Law Court, you don't get to be a judge by not knowing. But these individuals are criminal. They pulled the wool over so many people's eyes for so long, since 2015. Since 2015, when they received full county-wide jurisdiction, they were required to be elected. Because they are a distinct, that's not my words, that is the ruling. The ruling of the El Paso Criminal Law Magistrate Court is that they are a distinct court. And because they are a distinct court, they must, with county-wide jurisdiction, they must have judges that are elected. Elected. It's too powerful. It's too powerful. They have to answer to the people. That is, for the regular person out there, they might go, okay, whatever, I don't understand, whatever. The thousands of people, I don't know how many, that have been affected by the rulings, by the orders of this court, the arraignment, whatever procedures, whatever. Now they might understand a little bit and say, what? Say what? I was put in jail by this court. My child was taken away by this court. I was ordered to take certain medication by this court. This is what is, they might understand more. But who understands the most? The legal world. The law enforcement world. That is probably the most powerful truth that we've exposed that has shaken this case up. That was a huge push of water to open up those floodgates. Huge. So, they could cover up a little bit Bill Hicks, because he's on his way out, and then everybody will forget. He's a usurper, and everybody will forget. They don't want to hold him accountable. He should absolutely be arrested right now. He is a usurper, district attorney. He has messed everything up. He he colluded to take out a duly elected district attorney. He absolutely needs to be arrested. And the people, we just don't understand. Like what? Like what? Huh? That's me. But because I'm driven to learn this and to understand this, the more I see and understand, I'm like, oh my gosh, he needs to be arrested right away. Because we have so many crimes going unprosecuted, like Patrick Crucia's case, that's costing so much money. And money is the lives of our people. The economy are the lives of the people. And if that's bad, it causes even more crime. Bill Hicks absolutely needs to be held accountable for what he did. And the people around him that go along with this scam need to be held accountable. And then don't forget, we exposed uh, Bernal. She left, right? Bernal left as soon as we exposed it and through the system and documented it. And, because I can come on here every night and say something, but they don't care. They just shadow ban it or whatever. They don't care. But if you put it in writing and you submit it and you file it and you document it and you make them accountable to your filing, then all of a sudden you have the resignation of Joanne Bernal. And why? Because her with Escobar, Veronica Escobar, it's like, where is she? She needs to be arrested. She's on all kinds of committees. We've entrusted all kinds of money to her to do a duty, all these different committees. She's a representative of the people, and she is allowing a total mess. And illegal as a judge called the chief medical examiner, Mario Raskin Ortiz. With connections to Bliss Avenue, with connections to the Walmart mass shooting case. He is absolutely connected to Bliss Avenue, to Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, to Danae Katzen, to the Walmart mass shooting. So you got him, you've got the DA, you've got the court. And now you've got the El Paso Independent School District Police. Wow. Wow. And of course, the biggest elephant in the room, the generals, the military. The military. So, this is a huge case. The floodgates are open, are open. And it started Sunday on St. Michael and All Angels. And the defeat of the devil. And it is just amazing what has happened this week. And it's not even over yet. The week is not even over yet. Pray for this family, the Cordero family. Pray for all of those that have been affected by this, the trees and the flood, the mud, the loss of life, the loss of having ready food and water and access to the ATM machines. Our church, we have a another um, church that's part of our faith that's up there near Asheville, North Carolina. And the big problem is that we had to send cash money because the ATMs aren't working. And people need things. So that's that was a really that was kind of a shocker. I don't know why it was a shocker. It definitely makes sense. I don't know why they couldn't just write some things in a book and get some ID and start, just, okay, you owe me for this, whatever. Maybe some people started doing that, but they needed cash. And of course, they needed water and everything. It's been pretty crazy. It's, we're doing really well down here where I'm at. And it's a little crazy. So I can't even imagine what it's like up there. So thank you for that. And I'm just trying to think if I've told you everything that I wanted to tell you because there's so much breaking news. Um, this, it's, you can tell that Team Find Richard Halliday had an effect this week when Bob Moore comes out and says, "Oh, Patrick Crucius has autism." That is that is so big. That is so big. And of course, he's not going to say, "Hey, um, this is connected to Richard Halliday's case," and Richard Halliday's family, Team Find Richard Halliday, have been saying all along that Patrick Crucius had autism, or at least from December 2023. Um, and absolutely, Richard knew things because this came out also when we got the confirmation that Richard was a code red. Also, it came out that Richard knew things that connected the Walmart mass shooting with the trafficking on Fort Bliss. The trafficking, Fort Bliss, and the Walmart mass shooting. And so, yeah, he's a hero, y'all. Absolute hero. And they just could not discredit him. Praise God, they could not discredit him. That is so huge for a young man. That's so, it's huge because they sent Boleyn. They they sent Boleyn again with the canine cop. Um, they punished him. They whatever. They arrested him at the border for nothing. Um, they just tried to do everything to him, and it just he's just sparkly clean, and it's really amazing. And that's why, you know, I don't, I shouldn't even say it. Um, but these are very evil people because Richard, at his age, all they had to do was say, "Hey, McConville, hey, our HRC, we need this young soldier who has some ethics, some morals, some integrity. We can't have him here. We need to send him away. He's exposing our little criminal network, our big criminal network." They just had to send him away. These are evil people. And they murdered him, and they brutally murdered him, and then they brutally mishandled his remains, like they did with Vanessa Guillen. You know, absolutely they deserved the death penalty, with what they did with Vanessa Guillen. Absolutely. And that's why um, the death penalty absolutely needs to be on the table. And I don't think that that female got the death penalty, did she? She needed to get the death penalty because to mishandle someone's remains like that, to brutally do the things they did, she participated in that. I think that is just so, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. And it takes one sick person to commit crimes like that, a very sick person. So I'm going to read Danielle now. I pray for all the investigators to have the strength helping with bringing justice to Richard Halliday. Well, one of our investigators is what's his name? Sanchez, right? He's the Texas Ranger. This is the problem. This is the problem. Um, Wowzer, just hold on to that, and we will explain it to you in the coming days. Um, he's uh, was supposed to be investigating our case to hold all accountable in Richard Halliday's murder. Yes, yes, even if, yes. The rogue group is downright evil, in my opinion. Each individual on the smear site of a murdered soldier, Richard Halliday, should all be held accessory to murder and more, in my opinion. Yes, and we have been working diligently um, for each one. And Chris Martin, um, that that was also um, the exposure of the VA. Um, well, there's ongoing and active investigations, and it is absolutely insane. Insane. And so, and everyone knows that Chris Martin is a huge player in the criminal group. Um, yeah, yeah. We got one response back. Wow. What do you mean, wow? It's taken the breath away. You can hear a pin drop. Yes, Richard is a hero. Yes. And the week is not over. And we've been working on some other things. And just know that the floodgates have opened, the water of truth, the water of is driving those gates. Well, the gates are open, is driving the law enforcement, our agencies, to have to act. And we're very grateful for that. So, very grateful. And accountability, it started. It started. So, thank you so much. God bless you. And please share the information and the song. That was hard work, just for people to understand, and not forget Glennon Oakley Jr., not forget Richard, and how that's connected to the Walmart case and how people have been misled about the Walmart case. That is that's very important for national security because it's connected to Fort Bliss. It is very important for the people of El Paso because they've been charged millions of dollars. Amy Snoddy needs to tell us how much they have spent on paying Joe Spencer. How much have they been paying Joe Spencer? Everyone needs to write Amy Snoddy in Austin, Texas, and saying, look, those are, that's our money. We have the right to know. So it's millions, y'all, millions and millions. And they didn't even give Patrick Crusius a mental health evaluation. And now you know why. Because it didn't take a mental health evaluation to know that Patrick Crusius had autism. All you had to do was ask his neighbors, ask his family. It's been going on since he was 3 years old. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. It's such a betrayal. It's called the denial of honest services, right? They're denying the people of honest services because we've been paying him big money. They're living large. Look at Judge Samaniago. He's living large, and and now he's in the news like this. I want to hold my opinion, um, because who knows why, right? If it's true, and I'll report on it in the next couple of days. But wowzer! And then the whole thing with uh, the longshoremen and what they're reporting. It's like, my goodness, yeah. It's it's the failed leadership at the highest level. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. God bless.